Am. When people think of transformation, they often imagine it as something that requires years of practice. What am? Months of discipline or endless repetition. But the truth is, profound change can begin in as little as 1 minute. Not because time itself has magical power. What am? But because 1 minute of absolute focus has the ability to reorganize the mind and body in ways that most people never experience in their entire lives. What am? What makes that 60 seconds powerful is not the ticking of the clock. It is the quality of your attention and the intensity of your intention. Most of the time, our attention is scattered. We are thinking about what happened yesterday. What someone said last week, what we need to do later today. Our focus is divided among dozens of competing demands. And as a result, our energy is fragmented. If energy follows attention, then where is our energy? It is trapped in the past, projected into the future, or lost in trivial distractions. This is why so many people field before the day even begins. They are leaking their creative energy into places where it cannot produce transformation. But imagine this, for 1 full minute, you gather every fragment of attention back into this moment. You close your eyes, you bring your awareness into your body, and you decide that for 60 seconds, nothing else exists except the thought and the feeling of what you want to create. In that instant, you are no longer a victim of distraction. You are the master of your inner world. That single act begins to recondition the brain and the nervous system. Neural networks that were firing chaotically start to synchronize. The heart rhythm begins to regulate. Hormones shift. Biology itself responds to coherence. Neuroscience shows us that the brain does not distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a physically lived one. So when in that minute you picture yourself already living the life you desire, when you feel the emotion of it as if it were real right now, the brain accepts it as reality. The neural circuitry that supports that vision is strengthened, and the chemistry of your body begins to align with it. You are no longer just thinking about the future. You are rehearsing it biologically. 1 minute might sound small, but think of it this way: 1 minute of pure focus has more creative power than an entire day of unconscious thinking. It is not the length of practice that matters most. It is the quality of consciousness you bring to it. 1 elevated minute has the power to overwrite hours of habitual thinking and feeling. That is because the quantum field, the space of infinite possibilities, responds not to the duration of your focus, but to the intensity and coherence of it. Now, let us be honest, most people waste more than a minute in frustration, in judgment, in reliving old stories that do not serve them. They spend entire days rehearsing problems instead of solutions. If you can invest 60 seconds of energy into lack, into worry, into fear, why not invest that same 60 seconds into possibility, into gratitude, into creation? One produces the same old reality. The other opens the door to the impossible. When I tell people to take just 1 minute, I am not suggesting that you stop there. Of course, the more time you spend in that state, the deeper the transformation. But 1 minute is enough to prove to yourself that you can step into a different state of being at will. That knowledge alone changes your relationship with your own mind. It tells you that you are not a prisoner of your thoughts. You are the one directing them. And when you can direct your attention, you can direct your energy. And when you direct your energy, you are no longer waiting for reality to change. You are actively creating it. Am. Think about what happens when a laser is formed. Light is scattered everywhere, bouncing without direction. What am? And it accomplishes very little. But when that light is focused into coherence, when all the waves align, am, it becomes powerful enough to cut through steel. Your attention works the same way. Scattered, it changes nothing. Focused, even for 1 minute, am, it can reshape your inner reality. And because the outer world is always reflecting the inner one, am, it begins to reshape your external experience as well. So the challenge is simple. Can you give yourself 1 minute? 1 minute without distraction, without self-doubt, without compromise? What am? 1 minute where thought and feeling are elevated, where your entire being is aligned with your desired future. If you can, you will experience that shift, not tomorrow, not someday, but right now. And once you experience it, you will never again underestimate the power of a single focused moment. Because in truth, you do not need more time, you need more presence. What am? You do not need more hours in the day. You need more intensity in the moments you already have. And when you learn to bring that intensity, even for 60 seconds, what am? You will discover that the impossible is not waiting far away in the future. It is waiting in the now, in the 1 minute you choose to claim it. So I leave you with this. If your life could change in 1 minute, why not this one? One of the greatest obstacles to manifesting the life you desire is the illusion of time. Most people believe that change, healing, or success must take a long time. They think they need months of effort, years of waiting, or even decades of struggle, But what they do not realize is that time itself is a construct of the mind. And as long as you are bound to it, you remain bound to limitation. Think about how most of us live, We wake up in the morning and immediately begin replaying yesterday. We remember who we are, what we do, where we live, who we know. We recall the problems, the stresses, the disappointments. And because the brain is a record of the past, we start every day by projecting the past into the present moment. The body, which has memorized emotions like stress, worry, or fear, then begins to feel as it always has. And the moment we feel the same way as yesterday, what we are thinking in the same way as yesterday. This means the future is already being predicted by the past. We are not living in possibility. We are living in memory. Now here's the paradox, what when you're trapped in that cycle, you think you are moving through time. But really, time is moving through you. You are carrying the past forward, rehearsing the same emotions, repeating the same thoughts, unconsciously creating the same reality. This is why change feels so difficult. What you are not living in the present. You are living in a timeline that is already scripted by yesterday's emotions. But manifestation, the creation of something truly new, can only happen in the present moment. Because only in the present are you free from the gravitational pull of the past. When you step into the now, you step into what physics calls the eternal moment, the dimension where all possibilities already exist. The future you desire is not far away in years. It exists as a potential in the field of the present. What the moment you connect with it emotionally and mentally, you collapse that potential into reality. What This is why I say the illusion of time is the greatest barrier. People think they need to wait for their healing. Wait for success, wait for happiness. But waiting only reinforces separation. What if you are waiting for something to happen before you feel a certain way, then you are telling the universe, I am not that yet. And the field responds to who you are being, not to what you are waiting for. The truth is, what am. The moment you feel the emotion of your future in the present, you are no longer waiting. You are being. What am, consider how extraordinary this is. If you can teach your body to feel abundance before the money arrives, am, to feel love before the relationship appears, to feel joy before the success manifests, what am, then you are no longer projecting your happiness into the future. You are anchoring it now. What am? And because the quantum field reflects coherence, the outer world begins reorganizing itself to match your inner state. Am. That is how the impossible begins to appear. Not because you are chasing it in time, am, but because you are drawing it into the timeless moment of now. Time is useful for the practical side of life. Am. We need clocks, calendars, schedules. But when it comes to transformation, time is an illusion that keeps you bound to the old self. The key is learning how to collapse it. What am? And you collapse time not by speeding it up, but by stepping out of it. When you are fully present, immersed in the elevated emotions of your desired future, you are no longer measuring the distance between air and there. You are here and there at the same time. The gap dissolves. I want you to imagine a circle. Most people live moving around that circle. Going through the same thoughts, feelings, and behaviors day after day. They call that a life, but it is really a loop. The present moment, however, is the center of the circle. When you step into the center, you are no longer circling endlessly around the past. From the center, you can choose any point, any possibility. That is the power of breaking free from time. So the next time you catch yourself saying, it will take years for me to heal, or one day I will finally have success, remember that you are reinforcing the illusion of time. The moment you step into the present and embody that healing, that success, that love, you collapse the distance between you and it, and the body, the brain, and the field cannot tell the difference between the emotion created by experience and the emotion created by intention. One is past-driven, the other is future-driven, but both are real to the body. The question is, what which one will you choose? And this is the invitation: do not wait. Do not postpone your power into some distant future. Do not give the illusion of time the authority to determine when you are worthy of change. Claim the future you want by stepping into it now. Because the truth is, the impossible does not exist in time. It only exists outside of it, in the present. So let us return to the question, how long does it take for the impossible to manifest? The answer is no time at all. It happens in the moment you stop waiting and start being. We often hear people say, I think positively every day, but nothing changes. They read affirmations, they repeat mantras. They try to will their minds into believing something new, yet their lives remain the same. Why? Because thought alone is not enough. The universe thus does not respond to thought in isolation. It responds to thought that is married to emotion, and both of them aligned with energy. A thought without an elevated emotion is like a seed thrown onto dry soil. It may contain potential, but without nourishment, without water, it cannot take root. The emotion is the water. It is the fuel that gives life to thought. When you think of your desired future and simultaneously feel gratitude, love, joy, or freedom, you are no longer just thinking about a possibility. You are embodying it. Am, you are broadcasting a coherent electromagnetic signal into the field around you. What am? And that field begins to return experiences that match your state of being. What am? The challenge is that most people try to create with misalignment. Their conscious mind is saying, I want abundance, but their body is still living in the emotion of lack. Their conscious mind says, I want to heal, but their body has memorized fear and stress for years. What am? So they are thinking one thing and feeling another. And when thought and feeling are in opposition, energy is incoherent. The signal sent to the field is fragmented, and fragmented energy cannot produce a coherent outcome. Now imagine the opposite, Imagine that you hold the thought of abundance in your mind, and at the same time you allow gratitude to rise in your heart. Gratitude for the life you are already living, gratitude for the opportunity to create, gratitude as if your dream had already come true. In that state, thought and emotion are in resonance. The brain and heart begin to synchronize, Research shows that when the heart is in coherence, the electromagnetic field it produces can extend meters beyond the body, influencing not only your own biology, but the environment around you. This is the essence of alignment, Thought as the directive, emotion as the magnet, and energy as the carrier wave that broadcasts it all into the field. And it is not enough to think abundance. You must feel it. It is not enough to imagine love. You must embody it. What am? It is not enough to hope for freedom. You must experience the chemistry of freedom in your body right now. That is what alignment means, mind and body speaking the same language, sending the same message, amplifying the same energy. And here is the extraordinary part, what am? When you achieve this alignment even for a short period of time, the body begins to believe it is already living in that future. Hormones change. Neural circuits fire as if the event has already happened. The immune system strengthens. Healing processes accelerate, because the body cannot distinguish between an emotion created by an actual event and an emotion created by clear intention combined with elevated energy. What Both are real to the body. Think of it as tuning a radio. If you want to hear a specific station, you must align your receiver with its frequency. If you are even slightly off, you hear static. Most people live in static because their thoughts and emotions are misaligned. What But when you align with clarity, when thought, emotion, and energy are tuned to the same frequency, you are locking onto the signal of your future. And just like a radio pulls in the broadcast, you begin to pull in the reality that matches that vibration. This is why I often emphasize gratitude. Gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. It is the signal that says, I have already received. When you feel gratitude for a future event, before it has materialized, you are no longer in separation from it. You are in union with it. And because the field is intelligent, what it mirrors that state back to you in ways that often appear miraculous. But let me be clear, this is not about pretending or forcing yourself to feel something artificial. It is about opening your awareness and connecting with the truth that every potential already exists in the quantum field. When you realize that your desired reality is already real in possibility, gratitude becomes natural. What You are not begging for it to come. You are celebrating its existence now. And in that state, the body, the brain, and the field all agree. That is alignment. If you can master this, even for a minute a day, what you will feel the difference. You will notice your energy shift. You will sense your heart expand. What am? You will experience a peace and certainty that logic cannot explain. And over time, as you continue aligning thought, emotion, and energy, reality itself begins to reorganize. People show up, opportunities unfold, synchronicities occur, not because you force them, but because your inner state called them in. So let us simplify it. Thought is the blueprint, emotion is the charge, energy is the broadcast. When they are aligned, you are no longer wishing for change, you are generating it. And the more consistently you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, alignment is not something you do, it is something you are. And that is the key, because when you live in alignment, manifestation is no longer effortful. It becomes the natural outcome of your state of being. So I ask you, are your thoughts and emotions working together? Or are they canceling each other out? Are you sending a coherent signal into the field? Or are you broadcasting static? The answer will determine not just what you experience, but who you become. And here is the truth. What the universe does not give you what you want. It gives you what you are. We often believe that in order to change our lives, we must first wait for something external to happen. We say, when I get that promotion, then I'll feel successful. When I find the right partner, then I'll feel loved. When I recover from this illness, then I'll feel whole. But this is the great mistake of human conditioning. It reverses the order of creation. It places our power outside of us into circumstances we do not yet control. And as long as we are waiting for proof before we allow ourselves to feel, we are postponing transformation indefinitely. The truth is the opposite. What you must become the future before the future arrives. You must live as if your dream were already real. Because only then do you align your biology, your psychology, and your energy with the reality you desire. What This is not wishful thinking. It is the science of embodiment. The brain does not distinguish between an experience that has actually occurred and one that is vividly imagined and emotionally rehearsed. What The moment you feel it as real, your body begins living in that future now. Think of it this way, If you want to be healthy, you cannot wait for the test results to give you permission to feel vitality. You must embody vitality first. Breathe it, move as if you already own it. Feel gratitude for a body that is already healing. If you want success, you cannot wait until the world crowns you victorious. You must walk with the confidence, the clarity, the energy of someone who already carries success within. If you want love, you cannot wait for another person to complete you. You must become love now, open, expansive. And in doing so, what you broadcast the signal that draws love toward you. This is what I mean by becoming the future you now It is about shifting your identity from the old self, bound to the past, what limited by memory, into the new self that already lives in the reality you desire. That new self thinks differently, feels differently, acts differently. It wakes up in the morning with a new vision, a new chemistry, a new energy. And the more you practice embodying that self in the present, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, it is not an act of pretending. It is a new state of being. Of course, the old self will resist. The old self has habits, stories, emotions that it does not want to give up. It will say, but this isn't real yet. How can I feel abundant when I see no evidence? How can I feel healed when my body still hurts? That voice is the voice of memory, the voice of conditioning. And if you obey it, you will keep rehearsing the past. Am. But if you challenge it, if you choose to feel the elevated emotions of your future anyway, you begin to break free from the gravitational pull of the old identity. Am. Here's the beauty every time you embody your future self in the present. You are literally rewiring your brain. Now, what am, you are pruning away old neural circuits of limitation and firing new ones of possibility. What am, you are teaching your body new chemical states. You are tuning your energy to a new frequency. And because reality responds to energy, the external world begins to shift in ways that match the new self you are becoming. Do not underestimate this. The field is intelligent. It does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to who you are being. If you are being lack, it mirrors lack. If you are being love, it mirrors love. If you are being fear, it mirrors fear. If you are being abundance, it mirrors abundance. That is why embodying the future self now is the most powerful act of creation. You stop asking, when will it come? And instead declare, it is here because I am it. And this practice does not take hours. It can begin in a single moment of deep presence. Close your eyes, bring your awareness to your breath, and ask, what am? How would my future self feel right now? What energy would they radiate? What posture would they carry? What thoughts would they allow? Then step into it. Feel it in your body. Live it as if it were undeniable. Hold that state for 1 minute, and you are no longer the old you rehearsing the past. You are the future you, creating the present. The more you repeat this, the more you memorize the new state of being. Eventually, what the old self feels unnatural, and the new self feels familiar. What that is the moment of true change, not when the world convinces you, but when you have convinced yourself. And once you believe it with your entire being, reality has no choice but to reflect it back to you. So ask yourself now, who are you being in this moment? Are you being the same self you were yesterday? Carrying the same thoughts, the same emotions, the same limitations? Or are you willing to step into the self that already embodies your desired future? That choice is the point of power. That choice is what collapses possibility into reality. Because ultimately, becoming the future you now is not about pretending. It is about remembering. Remembering that every potential already exists in the field. Remembering that you are not separate from your dream. What remembering that you have the power to choose who you will be, not tomorrow, not someday, but right now. So I leave you with this truth the moment you decide to embody your future. You stop waiting and you start creating. And in that instant, the impossible is no longer something you chase. It is something you are.